Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so my name is Hannah. If you're new here, I am a Western Practical Astrologer and I make videos all about astrology. So, yeah, welcome back. Or welcome back if you are a returning viewer, returning subscriber to the channel as well. Just, yeah, welcome in general. I hope you are doing good. I hope you're doing well. And I hope that December has been serving you well. There's, been a good start to December for many of you. So, on that note, we're going to be getting into the month of December, and then we're going to be looking at your horoscopes for the month. So we're 3 days in, but still plenty of time throughout the month. And I just want to say even happy holidays to you. And if you do celebrate Christmas, happy Christmas. I hope you have a good holiday season, celebrating, etc. Hello, Alexander. Hi. Hi, Gabby. Hi, from New York City. Welcome. And hi, Danielle. Hello. Welcome to everyone. Okay. So let's explore this month. And I also just want to say that if there is any connection issues, if there's any jumping, lagging, whatever, please let me know. Let me know in the comments, because I know from the previous, like the most recent video, a lot of that was going on and I actually did not realize. Let's hope that things go well today. So December. So I just want to let you know of some of the astrology products that I have available. So I have some ebooks, the guide, the 2024 calendar is available, cheat sheets and merch also available. You can even find these over on my Etsy page, but you can also find these products over on hannahselsewhere.com. You can find the merch especially over at hannahselsewhere.com. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, you can do so, right? The link is in the description box. And this will basically give you access to daily forecasts, behind the scenes footage, and also PDF guides, things like this. So yeah, it's a good time over there. I hope you can join, and thank you again to my patrons. So here are some of the dates. Just going to show these here so you can read along. These are some of the transits coming up, some of the shifts coming up. Kayla, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. And Sandeep, lots of love from India. Wow, amazing. Thank you for tuning in. And same to you. Lots of love for viewing. Thank you so much for being here. So, first and foremost, let's explore this Mercury energy, Mercury and Capricorn energy. So, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde coming up from the 13th of December up until the 1st of January. So, Mercury entered Capricorn there on the 1st of December. So, basically, we're opening December with this energy. And what this suggests is that for the next couple of weeks or so, what we're going to be experiencing then when it comes to our communication is that we're going to be a lot more deliberate and rational. We may also be quite sensible and solid in how we communicate. We may also be a bit more like planned out and structured and mature as well. We may also be more willing to think things through, plan out what we wish to say, plan out what we wish to write. To me, it's just sort of like a bigger pause, a bigger mature process, or a bigger mature approach. Even using our mind in practical ways, productive ways. Business ideas may also come up here over the next few weeks, and we may also show a degree of caution when we're communicating, when we're chatting. And it's also questioning how useful is information when learning? So, how useful is the information that you hear today, for example? Of course, you're not going to be able to retain every single thing that I talk about today, but what do you take away from it, And how do you apply what I say today in practical, useful ways? But the thing, of course, is that Mercury is going to station retrograde from the 13th of December up until the 23rd of December. And I also want to mention with this that Mercury is in its pre-shadow period. I think it entered the pre-shadow period around the 25th of November there. So what could potentially happen here is we may revisit something that comes up really with respect to these Mercury and Capricorn themes. Okay, so we might revisit these things whenever Mercury does station retrograde. So it's good to sort of like prepare a little bit or to maybe consider what may be coming up for me over the next few weeks. And the thing as well is that Mercury is going to station retrograde from 8 degrees Capricorn up back to 1 degree. So if you're someone who has placements, planets in Capricorn around these degrees, pay attention. Also to those of you who have Cancer placements, thinking well around these degrees, then also Aries, Libra, yeah. And you know what? Even when it comes to these things, I would even suggest a little bit of like considering the trines and the sextiles too. But anyway, basically, all of this is to say, just look at your chart. Look at your chart and see how things play out for you personally. Now, the retrograde is also going to enter Sagittarius, right? So this is going to be from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January 2024. So it's going to be from 29 degrees back to 22 degrees. So then look there at the Sagittarius house for you, Sagittarius placements for you. And that's the thing about this too. Even if you don't have any placements in Capricorn or Sagittarius, still look at the Capricorn or Sagittarius and Sagittarius house. Okay. So basically, we're going to be revisiting structures, foundations, maturity, these types of things within our Capricorn house. But again, you got to think about communication. You got to think about how you process information in this respect as well. And then we're going to be revisiting our aspirations within the Sagittarius house whenever those dates come up. We're going to be revisiting our beliefs. Okay. We're going to be revisiting the bigger picture. Even looking at positive thinking, positive communication, looking at the possibilities, right? Sagittarius is so much about freedom, expansion, our growth, sharing as well. But the really significant thing about all of this is that we're going to be moving forward after, right? So we'll move forward with our new refined vision. This is so important. So Sagittarius sort of dares us to dream. Sagittarius dares us to think of the possibilities and to look at what could be in a way, to use sort of great foresight too, and to be inspired, right? So Sagittarius says, okay, be inspired, look at the vision, explore the vision. And then Capricorn says, well, you're also going to build upon that vision. You're also going to make that vision a reality. Of course, you got to think about realism, practicality, these types of things when it comes to Capricorn too. But I just think that this is like a really inspiring start to the new year. When you think about, I'm setting my new goals for the new year. We tend to do this every single year. Who really follows those things? I know it's like people say, oh, well, I'm going to try to go to the gym, or I'm going to try and cut out on chocolate. I'm going to try and not drink as much, these types of things. Of course, many people do follow through, but a lot of times we don't. Okay. We don't. We fall off after a few weeks. But the point I'm trying to get to is that this retrograde, this Mercury retrograde, especially in these signs, can suggest that there's more of a willingness, there's more of this likelihood of us following through, okay? Especially whenever Mercury re-enters Capricorn in January. Now, with that in mind, I also want to mention here, oh, okay, sorry, I was just reading the comments and Okay, I wasn't sure with the comments and everything if the internet was playing up or not, but that's okay. Hello, Brianna. Hi, I hope you're doing good. The thing about this I want to mention as well is that Mercury retrograde will conjunct Mars towards like the end. So Mercury, I think, will be in Sagittarius, and then also there will be a square to Neptune retrograde. So to me, it's almost like toward the end of the month, whenever this conjunction happens between Mercury retrograde and Mars, we may we may get too far ahead of ourselves, and that's something just to keep in mind. Sagittarius can run away with itself, okay? Sagittarius can be like, I can do everything, I can do it all. Sagittarius is also a highly impatient sign. All the fire signs can be impatient in their own way. So that's something I think is important to keep in mind with Mars, because it's like hold fire here, okay? If you can, hold fire. And then it's from the Capricorn house, it's from the Capricorn energy that we really then start to like make things happen, and we create greater structure. And then we can even plan more for the long haul as well. This isn't to say, we shouldn't make any decisions, we shouldn't make any plans, etc. And the thing about this too is when there are retrogrades, so we think about Mercury retrograde, it happens at least 3 times a year. Mercury retrogrades are actually great for following through on plans that were previous, so older plans or older structures or older situations, older things, basically looking to the past and thinking, oh, well, this is something I was meaning to do back then. Oh, well, the Mercury retrograde's here. Oh, well, actually, maybe I will do something now this time around. So that can actually be helpful. We can revisit those older themes and then act accordingly in this way. But still, just there could be this like impulse, right? An impulse, this like all this quickness to just do, but it's like try and hold fire, try and think it through. Even the square to Neptune retrograde, or well, it's not going to be retrograde at the time. My apologies for the retrograde there. Neptune is actually going to turn direct. So yeah, just want to say still with the square to Neptune, that could also be like where there's a bit of a fog. Okay. So that's also maybe why try and think, is this just wishful thinking? Am I really thinking this through? Just take your time as well. When it comes to Mercury retrograde, it's really important to take your time. And with Capricorn being involved, especially take your time. Okay, so let's move on to Venus entering Scorpio. So Venus is actually going to enter Scorpio from the 4th of December. So from tomorrow all the way up until the 29th of December. So pretty much for the whole month. Right. I want you to remember here that we have been slowly moving out of Scorpio energy, right? So we had Mars and Scorpio home in this sign. We had Scorpio season. We had the new moon in Scorpio. A Palace now is also in Scorpio. Or yeah, Palace. Let me double check. Let me just double check the asteroid situation. I'm pretty sure it's Palace. Yeah, Palace. So yes, Palace is also in Scorpio. Will actually continue to be in Scorpio for the month as well. And then so basically we're you got to remember what came up essentially throughout that time period whenever we had so much Scorpio energy. We had a stellium in Scorpio. What were the intentions that you set as well within your Scorpio house? And the thing about Venus is that Venus is essentially following the same path, and Venus is coming along and it's sort of saying, right, okay, there was a lot of intensity, there was like a transformation, death and rebirth situations came up throughout Scorpio season, but then Venus and Scorpio is coming along and it's kind of looking more at your relationships with respect to these areas, okay? Looking at strong emotional bonds, trust, intimacy. This is about bringing passion into our relationships, passion into our investments, potentially like, looking at shared resources, potentially paying off any debts that we have. This isn't just financial debts, but it could be even like debt to other people. Relationships relationship changes, and looking at how our relationships transform us. My goodness, this is huge when it comes to Venus and Scorpio. It's how the connections that we have with others, especially those connections that are more intimate, how they change us in powerful ways. This is also the type of energy that says having this unshakable force for ourselves and for others, being this unshakable force, right? Where it's like you show other people your loyalty. You show them that you're there, you care for them, and you're there to support them. There's deeper insights as well to do with this energy, providing deeper insights, but there's also a level of mystery. There could be even this love for like exploring the unconscious, exploring what's hidden truths, exploring the spiritual, the paranormal, this love for these types of areas, and investigating the truth when it comes to our finances or when it comes to our relationships, these types of things. Now, there are some aspects that will come up then throughout this transit. So Venus will oppose Jupiter retrograde. So there can be some like overdoing it when it comes to intimacy, for example. Or it could be where there's just too much. There's too much going on. There's too much emotion, or maybe there's a little bit of separation that needs to take place. Also, Venus will sextile Mercury before the retrograde begins. So with that Venus sextile to Mercury, maybe this is sort of like a moment of reflection, right? Deep reflection. And before then the retrograde really begins. And that reflection is more representative of like how much we can see into ourselves and how that's even reflected outward into the lives of others as well. So then with Capricorn season, during Capricorn season, Venus will also oppose Uranus retrograde. So, you know, this Venus energy, it's making these oppositions to the Taurus energy. And I just think that many of us are going to be really surprised by what is revealed, what is revealed within our relationships. And this could be in a positive light and a negative light. It really depends, of course. But yeah, just expect unexpected when it comes to Uranus always, right? Now, Venus will also trine Neptune and sextile Pluto toward the end of the month. It's a very sensitive time. Okay. This is a very, very sensitive time for many people, but this could also be a time of real deep like connection and closeness. Okay. This could be like a holiday season. We think about 26th, 29th coming into the new year. Many people are reflecting. Many people are even considering their goals for the year, or they're considering like who is close to them, who's in their life, who's no longer here. These types of questions may very much arise. And I just think Venus being in Scorpio, it's this holding energy that kind of goes like, I've got you, it really goes like, I care about you and I'm committed to us. I'm committed to our bond. It really depends on the type of bonds that you have. But I just think whether this be in a positive way or a not so beneficial way, where it's actually very triggering and it's hard, this is a confronting energy, right? This is a really confronting energy with respect to intimacy and connection. So, Neptune will turn direct on the 6th of December. Now, there was the retrograde, which started from the 30th of June. And that retrograde then has went from 27 to 24 degrees. So again, look to your chart, look to see, any placements in Pisces around these degrees, what's going on for you in your chart, etc., etc. But basically question then, what did the retrograde bring up and teach you, right? We turned inward, and we're still doing this, of course. There's still even an inward quality when it comes to Pisces, right? But anyway, turning inward towards our dreams, our visions, our fantasies, our delusions as well. How do you sort of how do you live in a state of delusion yourself? Wishful thinking, I think, is a big thing when it comes to Neptune and Pisces too. And what is real, what's not real, this type of stuff. Messages and insights as well can come up through symbolism. even having these strong sort of visions, these strong images in our minds, and our dreams may actually, over the past few months, have really, they've been communicating a lot to us. So yeah, re-exploring these matters, and also re-exploring matters to do with your spiritual growth, things like praying, meditating, journaling, deep breathing exercises, considering what and who gives us energy and who we give energy to, right? I think this is big when it comes to this Neptune retrograde and Neptune being in Pisces. And the other thing I want to say with this is Neptune is going to reach the 29th degree throughout 2024. So this is going to be a highly karmic experience, I think, or a shift, should I say, especially whenever you consider how this really is like the final push with Neptune. Because when it comes to the transits, when it comes to the planets traveling throughout the zodiac, and when it comes to Pisces, when they reach the Pisces house or sign, just consider your own chart again. This really represents like an ending, right? It represents a surrendering. It represents a letting go. It represents a new sort of cycle, because whenever those planets do eventually shift into Aries, what's Aries? Aries is very much about new beginnings. Aries is very much about, okay, it's looking at a renewal. It's looking at the start again. So I think that 29th degree is going to be really very important, but still consider what has come up for you throughout the retrograde. And like I said, this is the end of a new cycle, or the end of a cycle rather. The end of a cycle tied to our dreams, our fears, art, imagination, intuition. This is about transcendence. Fears and phobias are so big also when it comes to Neptune. I just want to say that, often it's our fears that are delusional, right? So all of this stuff, it's heavy. Not gonna lie, Pisces energy can actually be very, very heavy and profound. And there's a lot of it where it does require a sense of emotional intelligence and emotional depth and being able to explore within. Hello, creator. Welcome. Hi. Okay. So there will be a new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th of December. Now, with me getting that video out to you, I could potentially be a little bit late with that, but I will try my very best with the new moon in Sagittarius. I'll see how I feel, okay? But just to even give you some information about it right now, because this can be helpful, it will take place at 20 degrees. And this equates to the number 2 in numerology. So it's essentially a new moon of grace, elegance, tact, diplomacy, pairing. We'll be planting new seeds to do with adventure, exploration, higher education, our beliefs as well. And we're actually noticing how there is this Sagittarius stellium building. And this Sagittarius energy is it's a new hope, I think. I think it really does point toward new hope and inspiration, especially with the trine which will occur to the North Node during the new moon in Sagittarius. There's so much about our direction and our focus, and the conjunction to Mars as well. Yes, the orb will be quite wide, but I think that conjunction to Mars is sort of it's a push of motivation. I think that many of us need this dose of motivation, or a greater spring in our step, especially coming out of such a heavy Scorpio season period and then coming into Sagittarius season. Sagittarius season this year has actually had many rocky beginnings. It's not actually been the easiest for many people. I mean, there's been that square to Saturn. So I think the new moon in Sagittarius will not be so heavy. Of course, it'll be at 20 degrees, so it'll be a little bit away from that square to Saturn. Now, the thing too is there will be the square to Neptune. So, again, just consider wishful thinking. Consider, you know what, just getting too swept up in emotion and too overwhelmed by emotion, or too overwhelmed by, I can do this and I can do this. And it's this whole thing with Sagittarius is just thinking that they can take on the world and do everything. And and whilst you can admire that kind of insight and you can admire that drive as well, it's also just trying to even think about, where are those intentions coming from, like what is going on beneath the surface there, especially with Neptune. What's hidden there, and what are any sort of hidden motivations or drives happening there a little bit. And then also thinking about anything that's clouding our vision as well, right? Where things are actually quite foggy and we don't realize it, right? That's the thing with Neptune energy. Okay, so there was a full moon there will be a full moon in Sagittarius, my apologies, June 2025, around the same degrees. So this new moon in Sagittarius is essentially a new cycle beginning, okay? A new cycle beginning when it comes to adventure, exploration, higher learning, higher education, our beliefs, inspiration, these types of things. Do you know what I'm even going to suggest with this? Okay, let's think about how there will be the Mercury retrograde, which will happen in Capricorn and Sagittarius. Mercury will move all the way back to 22 degrees in Sagittarius toward the end of the month, and then it will station direct from there on the 1st of January. So this new moon, I just want to say, consider how Mercury will move back to that 22-degree point, which will be near where the new moon is happening. So really take this as a useful tool to kind of plant new seeds or to set new intentions to do with your inspirations or to do with your aspirations and to do with the ways in which you want to expand and grow, because that Mercury retrograde will also come along and kind of go, oh, well, here's some new ideas. Here's some thoughts maybe you didn't consider before. So just be open to this, right? Now, like I said, there will be the full moon in Sagittarius, June 2025. And so things around that time period will come to fruition. There'll be greater reward. Things will be illuminated. We'll also reflect more here. On optimism, faith, and freedom during this new moon in Sagittarius. And then these things will also sort of be more clear to us, or be more clarity around the full moon in Sagittarius, June 2025. And then I also want you to consider what you shared back in June 2022. Okay. Because that was a time period then where it was like, right, there was some releasing that occurred around that time. So yeah, think about that too. But really, this is a new moon where it's like new beginnings, about growth and change. Use the archer's bow and arrow to point toward your target of choice. But also remember, this is what I'm trying to say about Sagittarius energy, you can only shoot at one target at a time. I think that's really, really important when it comes to this energy. And Sagittarius is mutable, right? So it's changeable, it's flexible, but there can also be where it's like, I have all of these creative visions, all of these creative ideas, all of these creative outlets, and I just want to do them all. And yes, sure, there is still the ability to spread yourself a little bit in order to do that. But this can also get out of hand. This can also be where it's too much. So that's why I'm saying you can only shoot or aim at one target at a time. Thank you very much, Brianna. Thank you. Okay, so Capricorn season is going to begin from the 21st of December. So basically, we're going to be going from our visions and foresight, to climbing our mountain of success. We're going to be going from being idealistic to realistic, from shining a light on our aspirations to shining a light on our life's work and purpose, our life's mission. We're going to be finding purpose in responsibility as well. And then the sun will actually sextile Saturn. So Saturn is the dispositor of this. It's the dispositor of the sun then. So with Saturn being in Pisces and then the sextile happening pretty much at the beginning of Capricorn season, this invites dedication to our dreams. Okay. So there is actually this ability to like be somewhat more rational and focused and disciplined And then also looking at strength, stamina, perseverance in order to reach our spiritual goals. And then at the end of the month, there will be that Sun trine Jupiter retrograde energy. So it is interesting sort of coming into the new year because Jupiter will actually be direct coming into the new year in Taurus. And then what will happen is a stellium is going to start to build in Capricorn throughout January. And there's going to be these trines between Capricorn and Taurus. So this is going to be a really, really useful beginning, I think, to the new year where it's like, okay, I'm able to plan, I'm able to structure, I'm able to make goals here or to set out my plan when it comes to my goals, to achieving my goals. And so there's also I would say, like, being able to problem solve, being able to use the material world to our benefit. So all of this type of stuff could very well be a lot more smoother, really, coming into the new year, which I think is quite a beneficial thing. Still, that Sun trine Jupiter retrograde could be where it's just a little bit of a moment to really think, right, okay, before Jupiter does turn direct, it's like, what would I like to do? Where do I see myself headed here over the next year? How can I carry these lessons to do with even Mercury retrograde? How can I carry them forward? And how can I also believe in myself, believe in my success, this type of stuff? Okay. Full moon in Cancer will happen at 26 degrees. So this is going to be sorry, my mistake. Full moon in Cancer is going to happen on the 26th of December. Okay. It's going to be around 4 degrees. 4 degrees in numerology is the builder. It's stable, it's conscientious, it's tied to wealth and security. So there's a holding supportive energy here for this full moon in Cancer. But the question I want to say with this is, what seeds did you plant June 2022? Because this is a full moon where things are going to be illuminated, rewards are going to happen here. There's going to be realizations, completion. There's going to be like a possible like releasing point as well. And then Chiron will also turn direct on the same day. Okay, we consider all of these moving parts. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I said there, with Venus trine Neptune on the 26th of December, plus Chiron stationing direct, plus the full moon in Cancer. Honestly, just over this holiday season, like, look after yourselves, right? Really look after yourselves. And the thing, even just about the holidays and stuff, is yes, there's a lot of people around the holidays who are cheerful and they're happy and they're uplifted. Um, but there's also a lot of people who are deeply sad and um they're missing their loved ones. They're sad that they can't be with certain loved ones, or they feel lonely. Um, it can be a tough time around the holidays. It can be. And I think that with this moon activation and Chiron as well turning direct, it may be all that more like, triggering. So just be cautious. Um, or just be aware, not cautious, just be aware. Be aware even that you're not alone in your experience too. And if you do have any loved ones you can reach out to, it's like, be able, I know it's easier said than done. It's like being able to reach out. And it may even be a time where it's really about reflecting upon those bonds and those connections too. Though, just one more quick thing before I continue on with this. I also just, of course, want to remind you that with Capricorn season beginning, this is the winter solstice, essentially, right? I know, didn't put it there, but it is. It's the winter solstice. So this is the thing about Capricorn. Just quickly, I want to say this with Capricorn, with Cancer. This is what I'm learning. So Capricorn essentially guides us towards the sun. So the winter solstice basically means that it is the longest night. Okay, it's the shortest day, the longest night. And from that point, what starts to happen then is that the sun slowly begins to come back. Okay, it starts to begin its power, or it regains its strength, it regains its power once again. So essentially what Capricorn does is it guides us towards the light. But then Cancer, opposite, guides us towards the dark, because the summer solstice is basically the longest day of the year, the shortest night of the year. But then from there, the days start to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So we're essentially being guided toward greater darkness. So this is the really, really significant thing about Cancer and Capricorn in the zodiac, and the roles that they play. Now, of course, I'm talking about this from the perspective of the northern hemisphere because that's where I live. Of course, it's going to be the opposite in the southern hemisphere. And then, of course, when it comes to Aries and Libra, that means that day and night are going to be equal. And I do find that really interesting how Libra is essentially the scales and it looks at that balance. So, I just want to say that, of course, yes, Brianna, you said Saturnalia, that time of year. Yeah, happy winter solstice. Like I personally, I do, I do quite enjoy winter, but I do get it that it can be a challenge. I prefer the sunlight in that it enhances my mood a lot better. Okay, so with the full moon in Cancer, I also want to say that the sun will sextile Saturn, Saturn will trine the moon, and then they're just different aspects. But you know what? There will be more information about the full moon in Cancer. I'll make a separate sort of video to do with those aspects, but I just wanted to include those. I just want to sort of move on right now. So consider anything that you want to release regarding protection and emotional security. Anything you want to release. Also, this could be a time of digging up the past. Okay, so that is likely. That can be useful. That can also be not so useful, right? It's also a full moon, like I said, around Christmas. So it can be like family orientated. It could be where it's like, yes, I'm feeling good because, of course, many people do value their traditions and they feel close with family and they have that family unit that they feel loved in and supported by, etc. But of course, the thing is that memories can come up. Okay, so happy memories can come up, good memories, fun memories, but also around Christmas, we can be sad, depressed, lonely. Melancholy is also a big word for this as well, especially during Capricorn season, especially with the full moon in Cancer here. So, yeah, just consider these things. We're also reminded of the people who are no longer here, but we're also rewarded for kindness and compassion. And again, it looks at the connection with loved ones. Yes, this could be like your family, but of course you got to consider, your friends, your partner, this type of stuff. And then the last thing I said there is this could be a full moon where it's so much about releasing a subconscious pattern or a subconscious like trigger, um, or a habit, an emotional habit. The thing about Cancer energy is that, it looks at repetition and that's how things become unconscious, is through this repetition. So if you think about it like, you know, I like to hope that you brush your teeth every day, but you brush your teeth every day and that becomes like a subconscious pattern where you don't even think about it anymore. It's just like you just do it. You're not really thinking. But that's Cancerian energy, right? It rules the subconscious. And that, as I say, that's done through like getting used to doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, so it looks at those patterns, but I think the full moon in Cancer reminds us that those patterns can shift and change. This is what Cancer basically really does teach us within the zodiac, is that nothing ever stays the same. This is huge. Capricorn energy then looks at time, the passing of time. I just find the Cancer Capricorn axis to be just highly, highly symbolic, and there's so much wisdom in this axis. So yeah, Cancer reminds us that nothing stays the same. Our moods always fluctuate. Time, Capricorn again, opposite. Time is always passing, and often you don't realize what you have until it's gone. Okay, this is huge. You may think that it's the last time that you're going to see someone, um, and then you don't. And that's big. That is a very, very big thing. Um, so I think Cancer reminds us that when it comes to the people who are close to us, who are close, and the people that we love, it's like, don't take it for granted. You know, don't take it for granted. Okay, so let's move on to Venus entering Sagittarius. This is going to be at the very, very end of the year. The 29th of December, this is going to be from. So we're going to be entering the new year, exiting 2023 as well with this energy. And really, I was saying there about new hope, etc. Venus even coming along, entering Sagittarius, plus Mercury direct in Sagittarius on the 1st of January, plus Jupiter direct in Taurus toward the end of the month. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. This is big. Like, this is big for growth. This is big for hope, right? A new hope, a new horizon. This is also about seeking a connection where you can grow, where you can expand, where you can learn. This is about freedom. This is about being spontaneous. This is about roaming. This is about opening up yourself to what could be, to the possibilities. And this can also be an energy where we're restless, right? We're restless about our comforts, our desires, how we earn money, about our pleasures. But really, we want to spread our wings and fly, so to speak. And we may even trusting and having faith, this type of stuff. However, we can also spread ourselves wide, right? This is the whole thing. Like I'm trying to say, too many targets, too many financial targets, for example. But the beneficial thing about this, of course, is that we can be open and honest about our relationship morals. We can be open and honest about what our desires are, about what we want, about what we value within relationships. We can also see the best in those that we love too. There's gratitude in this. We can count our blessings. We can even look toward our financial visions, our financial goals. Again, this is all why, this new year is going to be big for like goal setting and intention setting, etc. With all this Sagittarius energy floating around, the Jupiter energy. Visions as well when it comes to relationships and talents too, right? Venus is so much about our talents, our skills, beauty, creativity, this type of stuff. But this is a looking forward energy, right? So looking toward the future. This is about this sense of like hope, but also being positive, being optimistic. This is about wisdom. Okay. Uplifting others with your knowledge, uplifting others with your wisdom, and seeing other people's potential. And then lastly, Jupiter direct. So this is going to be from the 30th of December, and the retrograde has been happening from the 4th of September. So over the past few months, Jupiter has been traveling from 15 to 5 degrees. Again, look to your chart, especially if you have Taurus placements around these degrees. And like I was saying earlier, look even to the opposite sign. So that'd be Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius as well. Look to those squares, consider sextiles, trines, etc. But yeah, look to your chart and then ask yourself, what did this retrograde bring up and teach you? Teach you with respect to how you turn inward regarding resources, finances, your physical security. Also looking here at recognizing what and who is valuable, being committed to them. And what even like philosophical slash spiritual lessons have came to you with respect to earning money, etc. Like I've said this repeatedly, I think Jupiter in Taurus has been so much about what we take for granted in life and who we take for granted in life. But you know what, quite possibly this is a transit that's also it's coming along and it's been trying to teach us a thing or two about what we do really value in this way, right? It's like, um, do you realize that you're putting more of your focus and your energy and your time into work or into an area where it's just too much, right? There's that excess going on, but the other things then in your life aren't so valuable then, and it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that, I was blind to that, I didn't realize. So I think maybe a little bit of like a healthier understanding of how we attach to things, especially material things, work related stuff, financial stuff as well. But I do also understand that when it comes to 2023, it has been this like financially challenging year for so many of us. And maybe a lot of us have had to readjust, have had to get stuck in, have had to problem solve, this type of stuff. And then also, revisiting our comforts, our pleasures, and then our values too. And the expansion of our resources is actually proven to be difficult for many, right? So higher costs, higher bills, etc. And then there's also the whole thing as well. I just want to say, like, there's the whole saying of more money, more problems, right? You think so often in life you can think that by having more money, you're going to be happier, you're going to be a lot better off. But sometimes as we strive for that, it may not actually turn out to be that way. I guess it really depends on you as a person. It depends on your relationship, your attachment to money and resources, etc. There's a lot of nuance to this, but it's the whole thing of, just because you have more of something doesn't mean that you're happy underneath. And I think that this is even a potential lesson Taurus, Jupiter in Taurus has been teaching us. Okay, so this is also looking at resistance and stagnation that has brought us the wisdom of waiting and being patient. When we are steadfast and loyal, though, we can grow and we can gain the rewards this transit has to offer. This is also looking at security solutions and determination. And the last thing I want to say with this is don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just keep it that simple. I have Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter is in detriment in Virgo. Okay. So I have Jupiter in Virgo natally in my chart. I overcomplicate things all the time. But Jupiter in Taurus is so good for coming along, just cutting through it all and just going, why are you making this more complicated? Why are you making this more difficult than it needs to be? Why are you, repeatedly going over and over the same thing? Just get to the point. That is this energy. Okay. So that is basically a rundown of December. And so we're going to get into your horoscopes now. Okay. And like I said, let me know if there's any issues, delays, whatever there may be. Thank you so much for being here as well. I appreciate you tuning in. Okay, so Aries, let's begin with you, Aries. Mercury entered your 10th house there from the 1st of December. So let's explore how Mercury in your 10th house is going to indicate that there's going to be more of a focus on how you're communicating responsibly and sensibly within a public forum, or when it comes to your professional life. Even looking at your what it is that you're building, there's more of this sense of duty and commitment and responsibility. Now, Mercury will retrograde then in your 10th house from the 13th of December until the 13th of December until the 23rd of December. So you're going to be actually revisiting these areas from that time period, or during that time period, sorry. So yeah, time to reflect during that time. Just take a moment to really reflect and review, right? Okay, what about communication here? What about how it is that I share information publicly, for example? And then with Mercury entering your 9th house from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January, I think this is a good way for you to really go inward, Aries, and to consider, okay, what about any further training? What about my beliefs? What about self-exploration? What about any further research that I want to do, any further learning, higher learning that I want to do? This type of stuff will come up during that time period. And then you can carry those things forward with you coming into the new year. It's like, right, okay, these are the things that came up for me, and I'm going to carry them forward and apply them as well to my career, to my professional life, to how does that I show up publicly. Okay, now Venus will also enter your 8th house from the 4th of December up until the 29th of December. So I would say with this, with the Scorpio energy, for you, Aries, I just think that really relationships are going to feel a lot more deeper than usual than they usually are for you. I think that this is about creating intimacy and creating vulnerability. You may be really pushed in a vulnerable way this month, pushed to open up, or to really feel on a deeper level, to feel heavily about things and to sit with your emotions more, or even to sort of hold space for other people emotionally as well. And then coming toward the end of the month, Venus will also then enter your ninth house. So for you, Aries, if we even consider how there is this stellium then in your ninth house, which will really start to unfold and build more toward the new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th. Um, I think that there's just a lot coming up for you this month when it comes to, like I said, further learning, training, even just how it is that you wish to mentor, how it is that you wish to educate and teach and broadcast, any publications that you want to make. This type of stuff could come up. But there's a lot of inspiration surrounding all of this, right? But still, Venus in Sagittarius from the 29th onwards, I think it's going to give you more of this enthusiasm and more of this desire coming into the new year, where you really want to like make things happen. And especially with Mercury also being direct at that time, that'll be really useful. But more information about January in the January horoscopes. Okay, so the other thing I want to say for you, Aries, is with Neptune direct. So Neptune is going to turn direct from the 6th of December. So you're really going to be moving forward with like any wishful thinking or any sort of spiritual practices that you revisited whilst Neptune was retrograde there. And yeah, okay, the last thing I want to say with this, I just want to say Jupiter direct too. So that's going to be at the very, very end of the month, where I think this is going to be beneficial for you, Aries, especially when it comes to your finances and your resources and your money and earnings and stuff like this, how you spend, etc. Because Jupiter direct can suggest that I just feel like you're going to be more willing to move forward with greater wisdom and insight, and just feeling more like yourself, perhaps more inspired, more raring to go, this type of stuff. I just really see this more of on a collective level because, like I said earlier, Jupiter will be direct. Mercury will be direct coming into the new year. Venus will be in Sagittarius. So I think a lot of people will be feeling this inspiration. Okay. Now, I'm not going to look at the new moon and the full moon, but because there's more like videos that will come out about these. But just to remind you, there will be a new moon in Sagittarius on the 12th of December in your ninth house, and then there will be a full moon in Cancer in your fourth house on the 26th of December. Okay, so Taurus. Taurus, Mercury entered your ninth house there from the first. So this Mercury energy in your ninth is so much about how it is that you come across as a mature and responsible mentor, a mature and responsible teacher. Or maybe there's a lot to do with legal stuff coming up for you, actually, Taurus. Legal, this is what I'm getting. A lot of legal matters coming to the surface for you, and just having to be somewhat responsible for yourself and having to think about the long term, having to really think about the future in terms of keeping yourself keeping yourself out of trouble, I would say. And then also I would say there's many lessons coming up to do with your beliefs. So the beliefs that you have or that you hold about yourself and about what you contribute to the world, about purpose as well, your beliefs surrounding purpose, your beliefs surrounding um what it is that you're sort of committed to. But it's thinking about all of this, right? With Mercury being there. And then with Mercury also turning retrograde from the 13th to the 23rd of December, yeah, you're really going to go inward and consider these areas, right? I think this will be a deep, deep period of self reflection for you, Taurus. In this way, the Mercury retrograde will enter your eighth house. So, Taurus, I actually do think for you, Taurus, if we think about how there's just a lot building in this eighth house for you, there's a lot of emotional, heavy, really having to like tense feelings and emotions that you have. But what I want to just make you aware of with this one, Taurus, is don't run away from these emotions. Don't run away from any bigger picture themes that you could do with reflecting on, because these things are very much part of like bigger life transitions for you. This could even be a month of growing pains for you, Taurus, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, I really have to like change, and Taurus energy may not be the most open to change, but this can be a good opportunity for you to address what's hidden, address hidden truths. This could be a month, Taurus, for many of you where a lot of heavy stuff comes to light and you're having to face it. You're having to face it head on. Just saying. So yes, the Mercury retrograde entering Sagittarius for you from the 23rd until the end of the year. I just feel as if it's time to investigate things a little deeper. Now, we could also look at this in a more beneficial way where, perhaps a lot of you really do take your time to dive deeper into certain like higher educational subjects, to really be in the know, to make yourself more aware of certain things, to give back in some way, to contribute to society in some way, to even get some sort of psychological assistance, psychological help. There could be like a lot that comes up for you that can, I think, in a way, be super, super helpful for you too. And then Neptune, or sorry, Venus. Let's move on to Venus. Venus and Scorpio will happen in your seventh house. Yeah, I think this further sort of validates in a way what I just said. I think Venus here, it's almost like you're gonna be confronted by certain people that reflect back to you your own intensity. Any intensity that like you don't see as part of yourself, because that's often what is reflected back to us, when it comes to the seventh house of the things that we don't see. So any intensity that's reflected back to you from other people, I think it's saying own it, right? Own your own intense feelings about your relationships, about the type of money you want to make, about your physical security, about your self-worth. This is such a, I would say it's a character building month for Taurus. It's a big character building month. And then the other thing I want to say is Neptune direct in your 11th house is going to be useful for you in that you're going to move forward with the things that you revisited with respect to friends, communities, teams, etc. And just looking at who you are overly sort of emotionally concerned about, or who do you idealize. This type of stuff could come up. Um, what sort of communities are you too dreamy about or too emotionally attached to, where there's a lack of boundaries, etc.? So, yeah, you could very well be moving forward with a few realizations here. Okay, let's also explore Venus entering Sagittarius at the very end of the month. Yeah, that Venus energy in Sagittarius could be very eye-opening, and it could be this like big transformative experience for you where you're opened up to new experiences, new possibilities, new opportunities that really make you question like why you're here, what your meaning is, what you want out of life, where you see yourself headed over the next year. Many things could come up that you don't necessarily like to see, right? But I think this is also about you really considering, okay, what are the spiritual lessons here? What can I carry forward? And then with Jupiter direct, this will be on the 30th, and this will happen in your first house. So this, coming into the new year, I think many Taurus folks will be a lot more aware of the types of security they wish to build, the lifestyle they wish to have, how they can support themselves, how you wish to provide for yourself, this type of stuff. I think a lot of this is going to come up for you, Taurus. And it is interesting because there will be that Jupiter Uranus conjunction in your first house coming into April 2024, which we're not going to get into right now. Needless to say, I just think Taurus, you've been making these huge changes over the past year or so. Few years actually, with Uranus even being in your sign, and then we had the North Node in your sign there as well for the past few years. So yeah. And I also just want to say before we move on to Gemini, of course, when it comes to the sun in the chart, you think about Sagittarius season, just consider with the sun in terms of where the light is, where there's a greater sense of like attention, okay, where we focus our energy. So there could be a greater focus. There's a shining a light on these more intimate matters for you, Taurus, this month. The shared resources, this type of stuff. And then as Capricorn season begins, it's more about shining a light on the training stuff that we were talking about, the legal matters that we were talking about. And then in the case of Aries, even going back to you, with the sun shining on your your ninth house to begin with, it's the same kind of thing, but it's in a different way, of course, with Sagittarius energy. So yeah, looking at your creative visions, what you're inspired by when it comes to training and educating, etc. And then you'll be more focused then on your career, your professional life as we start to enter Capricorn season. Basically, all of this is to say, just do also remember where the sun is placed. Right, so Gemini, Mercury will transit your 8th house. So from the 1st of December up until the 13th of December, I think for you, Gemini, a lot of you will be really reflecting on how you can be mature and supportive and steady and responsible in an intimate way, thinking about intimate partners, or thinking about also how you can be mature and steady with respect to debt or any money, financial matters, basically, shared resources, this type of stuff will come up. And then the retrograde will come here. And so it will be from the 13th of December until the 23rd of December. So that retrograde in Capricorn, I think, will look at you reassessing these areas, right? So you'll be reflecting on these areas and thinking about, okay, well, what are the structures here? What are the foundations here? How can I maybe consider greater responsibility, or what are my responsibilities? Who am I responsible for? Even who am I committed to? How can I sort out these investments, right? These financial plans, etc. And then with Mercury retrograde entering Sagittarius from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January, I think this is about you essentially then rethinking the types of aspirations you have regarding clients and collaborations and partnerships and relationships, right? And then, of course, moving forward with these realizations coming into January 2024, then we also look here to Venus entering Scorpio on the 4th. So this is going to happen in your 6th house. So throughout December for many Gemini, I think that, this is going to be it's going to be a time period where there's a great deal of introspection for you. A great deal of really looking at, okay, well, what do I value? What do I value when it comes to my work and my services? And who are the types of people that I want to work with? But it's not about, superficial relationships in this way. It's really about what is meaningful. What types of people do you like really connect to? And then also, I would say possibly getting into like a shared relationship of some way, a shared financial relationship of some kind when it comes to work. And I would even want to say with this is just consider your health. This could be a month where you really start to value your health and your well-being. and possibly going through these transformations when it comes to your schedules and your everyday routines. Neptune will also turn direct in your 10th house, Gemini. So, moving forward, of course, with these spiritual lessons that have come up for you over the past few months, even looking at the type of image that is presented to the public, presented within a professional setting. And, you know, maybe there have been some complications, or you have been quite delusioned in some ways as well. Or maybe it's like you're having to really battle with, what do you want? What is just wishful thinking versus what is clear? Where are the lines blurred? What boundaries are not present or have been crossed, etc.? And yeah, I just think there's a lot of growth happening for you, Gemini, especially when it comes to your life's work, your purpose, your career, etc. And then, as I say, moving forward with such realizations. And let's also explore then the Venus energy entering Sagittarius toward the end of the month, and considering how there is this stellium basically in the seventh house for you for a bit of December. So I think with this energy, it's really highlighting the significance of the value that you place in others, and again, who you want to work with, who you want to go the extra mile with as well. Even just looking at gratitude and counting your blessings when it comes to your relationships, and experiencing even greater positivity or enthusiasm when it comes to relationships and partnerships too. And of course, shining a light then, right? Focusing more on these areas throughout Sagittarius season, and then coming into Capricorn season. I think Capricorn season, and then even coming into January for you, Gemini, is going to be like a serious business minded period, right? Where it's like, right, okay, let's get down to business here. Like, let's really make things happen, and let's build, right? Let's build together. Let's structure things. Let's make this plan and follow through with it, especially with respect to investments, etc. And then Jupiter will turn direct at the very end of the month in your 12th house. I actually think for Gemini, I think it's been quite useful for you in the creative way. I think Jupiter retrograde has been useful in that you've been able to reflect upon, okay, these are my dreams, my visions. My imagination is taking me here. And you can actually be quite good at grounding your imagination. I find this is really actually fascinating about Gemini. You are some of the most creative people like ever. So to have Jupiter in the 12th house for this time period, I think has just given you this huge like boost of inspiration and expansion and growth and bringing things to life. But the retrograde has been a bit of like, okay, well, let's explore this, right? Let's just take a time to review and reassess. But when Jupiter does move direct, station direct, it's like, okay, time to move forward. And of course, Jupiter is going to enter your sign coming into 2024. So that is going to be quite significant for you, Gemini. So keep your eyes peeled. I actually just need to go and get a quick drink of water. I forgot to bring my water with me, but I will be back in just a moment. And hello, David. Hi, how are you? And E Shant Shantrika. Shantrika. Hello, welcome. You said appreciate your podcast. Oh, uh, so it is not a podcast, but I would love to do a podcast one day though. But thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And Brianna, thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. Jessa, have not done Libra yet. It will be very, very soon. And Pran A. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names. If I ever do mispronounce anybody's name, I really do apologize. You said hello, Hannah. Hello to you. I hope you're having a good day. Right, I am just going to go and get a quick drink of water, and then we'll be back and we will talk about Cancer. Just going to mute you for a moment. Hello. Okay, so I'm back. Okay. Right. So we were at Cancer. Whew, it's cold. It is so, so cold. And I don't really want to put the heating on because it costs a lot of money to put the heating on. But it's so cold here. Uh, I hope David, you and Nicola are keeping warm. Because you get it. Anyway, okay, so let's move on to Cancer. Cancer, Mercury entered your sign, or sorry, Capricorn, from the 1st of December there in your 7th house. So I think for a lot of Cancerians this month, I think there's many questions, right? I think there's many questions about relationships and about commitment and about integrity within relationships. And I think there's also a lot of heavy conversation and serious conversation coming up for many Cancerians in terms of like, what are we? What about commitment? This type of stuff. What about commitment? So I just think that there will be many questions that will arise with respect to relationships in this way. And then Mercury will station direct from, or retrograde from the 13th of December until the 23rd of December. So I would say that this is really about, okay, greater reflection, greater patience, the ability to truly think about and go over, right, what do I want from my relationships? Okay, and how you carry these things forward into 2024 as well. And this is not just about, oh, what are we in seriousness about relationships just with a significant other. I think this is also about work. This is also about your professional life. This is also about the types of people you really want to work with, clients, customers, collaborations, and even looking at and addressing the shadow with respect to, you know, what is it that you really want to say and how is it that you wish to be known when it comes to communication here. So a lot of reflecting in this way, basically. And Mercury then will enter Sagittarius from the 23rd of December up until the very end of the year. So for Cancer, I think there's just a lot of questions to do with your schedules, your routines, where you overextend, where you overdo it, even thinking here any further training that you wish to do, any new qualifications that you wish to take on, and how these things can even support you in a working way, in a business way. And then I would even say here, what about your health, right? Revisiting your health, revisiting any time off that you need or any space that you need. And possibly as well looking at your aspirations then when it comes to your services, when it comes to your work, etc. What would you like to sort of achieve, or what would you like to gain in a lot of ways here? And this of course can be quite exciting as well, I would say. But yeah, just take your time and go inward and review your aspirations in this respect. Venus will also enter your 5th house from the 4th of December up until the 29th. So I think a lot of Cancerians, I think you're going to be truly valuing those intimate connections when it comes to love and play and fun. And I think this could even be where you do deepen certain bonds with people in your life. Of course, this could be romantically, right? Romantic partners. This could also be deepening your bond with children. So if you have children, or maybe there's many questions that come up to do with actually having children here. Or even, thinking about nieces, nephews. Yeah, basically I just think there's more of a protectiveness and even a vulnerability as well when it comes to children this month, and maybe greater sensitivity too, and maybe as well greater passion when it comes to your creativity and your hobbies, etc. The Neptune will station direct in your ninth house. So, moving forward, then, with these spiritual lessons that you've been revisiting when it comes to your philosophies, when it comes to your higher meaning, when it comes to truths, like, what your sort of personal truths are and what your beliefs are, etc. And, maybe there's some of you Cancerians who have been living in a bit of a dream world, a state of delusion when it comes to your beliefs. But Neptune direct is sort of like an ability for you to move forward and to really think, well, is this something that I really believe? And how have I been able to reassess these matters over the past while? And then we also notice here that Venus will enter your sixth house by the very end of the year. So I think for Cancer, even with all these planets in Sagittarius throughout the month, I just think there's a lot of questioning to do with the bigger picture when it comes to not, of course, as we said, their health and schedules, routines, but I even think that this looks at, who you are on a daily basis. This is the thing about the sixth house. It's actually a deeply personal house, and of course, those houses below the horizon are very personal to us. So I think what's important to keep in mind with this is the sixth house correlates with the type of people or person we are on a daily basis. And whenever we're not really ourselves, that's whenever it's like, hold on a minute, why am I not really feeling myself right now? What's going on? And I think for a lot of Cancerians this month, there's so many shifts, right? There's so many changes coming up. Then it could be where many of you just you don't feel as like open, or maybe it is that you are incredibly open with all the Sagittarius energy gathering up or building there. um but if it is that you're having an off there, you feel a bit, maybe this could be a suggestion that, like, maybe you're overdoing it, or maybe you don't feel so inspired. Maybe there's some things that are getting to you, and maybe there's even some sort of frustrations, emotional frustrations that come up for you. But yeah, it might be a good idea to kind of consider, right, what time do you need in order to really like recharge in this way? Maybe you're just overdoing it, or you're overstimulated, or there's just too much going on, and there's too much to carry, there's too much to hold at one time. Still, Venus and Sagittarius could even suggest this bigger picture perspective when it comes to these things, right? And even when it comes to how you earn money and how that and then shows up within your work, and even when it comes to the services, any services you provide. Then, of course, Jupiter will turn direct on the 30th. So, Jupiter turning direct at the very end of the month could be quite useful for you in terms of, okay, these are my beliefs, these are my philosophies when it comes to friends and communities and groups. And perhaps there's a sort of shift in your own mindset, there's a shift in your worldview or your consciousness toward the end of the month. And maybe you even realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I took these friends for granted, or this sort of community for granted. And this is what I've learned from this moving forward. Of course, Sagittarius season means that you'll shine a light more so on your day to day activities, your everyday stuff. But coming into Capricorn season, I think that this is when things are going to kick in. And it's really about, okay, how can I make more time for my relationships, for instance? Okay, Leo. So, Leo, for you, Mercury is now transiting your fifth house. So there's actually sorry, my apologies, your 6th house. So from the 1st until the 13th of December, we're noticing here for you, Leo, that this is about you you thinking heavily about your structures and your plans, any solid routines that you have, and how you wish to mature as well when it comes to your work, and maybe even looking at what responsibilities you have, really what responsibilities you have, how much of your time do you put into something, and what are you also getting back? And perhaps you'll even revisit the very structures and the very foundations of work related matters here. And you may be confronted with a few areas that don't feel so satisfying or comfortable, etc., or things that you would like to change, especially whenever Mercury does station retrograde from the 13th until the 23rd of December. I just think, well, if we even consider how this is going to be right before Christmas, it's almost like many Leos, you'll have a good think about, okay, work. Okay, how much time am I putting in? Okay, what am I getting back from it? And how am I feeling health wise? It's almost as if things are going to become a lot more serious about health and about time off and about coworker relationships as well. It could even be that there's some sort of uh, necessary conversation or meeting that needs to be had with a member of authority or with an employer or a coworker, for instance. And then whenever Mercury does enter Sagittarius, so the retrograde, whenever that enters Sagittarius, from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January, I think, well, this is so much about play and fun. I think a lot of Leos this month in particular, if you look at that selection, that cluster of planets in your 5th house, I think a lot of Leos, it's more about, okay, what are your forms of enjoyment? What are your hobbies? What are your pleasures? What do you genuinely enjoy doing, and how do you entertain yourself? This could be a greater month for entertainment in this way. And of course, with Sagittarius energy, it's more about hiking or adventure or higher learning, or teaching, and the outdoors, this type of stuff. So I think Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius toward the end of the year, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for you to revisit, right? To revisit fun and play and time off as well. To even revisit matters related to children as well. You look at the 5th house in terms of children, to revisit matters when it comes to romantic relationships, in terms of spontaneity, a bit of, just letting loose, or just freedom, right? Just having more of this ability to just make last minute plans or last minute decisions, or even just feeling more of an inspiration, a spark, right? We've talked about this with Sagittarius energy and coming toward the end of the year, and how a lot of this is about greater hope, and a lot of this is about entering 2024 with a better spring in our step, I think. So there's that for you, Leo. And at the same time, well, when we consider how Venus is going to enter Scorpio from the 4th up until the 29th, well, this could be where there's a lot of like private personal matters here coming up, and possibly diving a little deeper into these areas, maybe even having to have more of a heart to heart with a family member, a loved one, or it's that you experience some type of renewal with a family member, like an emotional renewal, or perhaps this is even about having to consider or having to consider the value of home or the value of family or the value of where you wish to settle down and where you actually do live. These things may come up strongly, and even looking at finances in this way as well, and especially considering finances, shared accounts, any debt. This type of stuff may come up throughout December for you, and how it is that you can navigate those areas. um and then we also notice with Neptune direct, so this is going to happen actually in your 8th house. I think with this one, with Neptune stationing direct, I think it can suggest a clearer head or a clear understanding about any fogginess that came up um, with respect to intimacy, vulnerability, your psyche over the past few months. So perhaps there's been like a lot of really profound and heavy emotions that have come up over the past few months. And this then is a time period when Neptune does turn direct to, okay, take what you've learned. And there's a lot of, I would even say with Neptune energy, there's a lot of wisdom, there's spiritual wisdom, spiritual insight in this respect. So, like I said, Venus then will enter Sagittarius. So I think for you, Leo, coming toward the end of the month, I think there's just so much of this motivation toward play and fun, like I've been trying to say with the stellium. But that Venus energy further suggests like some, um, like a certain glow or a certain allure or an attraction here. You think about Venus energy, it can be quite attractive. It looks at beauty. So maybe this is looking at, okay, the valuing the things that bring you joy and happiness, but this also, it almost like makes you glow. You know what I mean? It makes you radiate even more because you're doing things that you really love, and you're living in the moment, and you're being childlike, and you're being carefree. This can be actually quite a fun month for many Leos, I think, with the 5th house being strongly activated. And then we notice how Jupiter will turn direct on the 30th. This will be in your 10th house. So yes, there's, I think, a lot of Leos, you've been questioning, the meaning of your work, the value of your work, or the value of your long term goals and what you really want out of life and what your purpose is. There's all of these sort of philosophical questions that has been coming up whilst Jupiter has been retrograde in your 10th house. So, as I say, this is about moving forward with such realizations. And then the final thing just to mention here is, of course, throughout Sagittarius season, it is more about shining a light on these more romantic matters, heart matters to do with the heart, matters to do with joy and fun and leisure and free time, etc. But coming into Capricorn season, I think there's a big part of Leo's where you're almost like, that there's things coming up in the new year and you kind of want to put things in place and you want to prepare a little bit. So from Capricorn season, it could be where it's like, okay, it's time to get a little bit more focused here and to consider what the long-term goals are for me when it comes to my services. Even again, health, right? Health. And yeah, Alicia, exercise. Exercise is a big part of health. So yeah, these things could be coming up. All right, so Virgo. Let's move on to Virgo. So Mercury is currently transiting your fifth house, Virgo. And so I think whilst Mercury is in your fifth house from the 1st until the 13th, I think this is about you bringing a new sense of form and structure to your creativity, to your hobbies, to your spare time pursuits, this type of stuff. And I think also there's a lot of cutting back. This is what I'm getting from this energy. Um, Cutting through anything meaningless or pointless and really looking at, right, okay, what is useful? What is useful in this situation when it comes to your creativity? Um, and even when it comes to romantic partnerships and how it is that you communicate with romantic partners and how it is that you communicate when it comes to matters of the heart. So there's a great deal of vulnerability coming up for many, many Virgos here. And the thing is that Mercury will start to station retrograde from the 13th of December until the 23rd. So around this time period, you will revisit these matters, right? So revisiting, okay, how is it that I deliver information when it comes to my art? Like, what's the message I'm trying to convey? What's the point that I'm trying to make here? How can I be somewhat more sensible and rational about all of this and mature as well? And also reviewing and revisiting then um even I would say matters to do with children. This could be your own children, this could be matters to do with having children, this could be to do with nieces and nephews that you have, and just looking at greater responsibility in this way and having these more sort of rational conversations with other people about children, and also these rational conversations to do with romantic relationships. Hi Yasmina. Hi. It's nice to see you as well. It's nice to hear from you. I hope you're doing good. Um, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. So yes, the other thing I want to say then for you, Virgo, is the retrograde of Mercury is going to happen in your fourth house from the 23rd of December until the end of the year. So basically, with a lot of these planets happening in your fourth house throughout December, there's just so much focus on family, possibly being there to support your family, possibly giving some sort of advice or wisdom toward family members, possibly helping certain family members see the bigger picture, possibly as well inspiring certain family members or being seen as an inspiration from family as well. And the thing about this too is it's not, of course, not just about family. It's, it's also about the people that we love. It's also about the people that we feel comfortable with here, the people that we open up to. And so, yeah, I just think that this is a month for many Virgos where you're being invited to be really like open, to be really open about bigger lessons to do with emotional security and emotional well-being. It's almost like there's a big turning point coming up for Virgos here, because these are sort of these lessons that come from a much deeper place, and they're also strongly linked to your upbringing and your childhood and to your past experiences and your memories. So just I think it's a good opportunity to use your wisdom and to communicate it, right? To communicate it to those who need you. But I also think at the same time with Mercury retrograde, it's about looking within as well, taking some time for you, possibly taking some time to rest, taking some time to, spend time on your own. Like how can you give to yourself as well? and what wisdom can be gained from that. Okay, so Venus is also going to enter your third house from the 4th of December until the 29th of December. So with this one, Virgo, um, I think many Virgos, there's something about communication this month that's going to be very profound. And it's not in the typical like Mars, because Mars was in your sign, right? And sorry, it was in Scorpio in your third house. So Mars can be more cutthroat, I would say, and more direct. But I think Venus here, I think there's just something very attractive about how you communicate this month. But that attraction comes from a place of like it comes from a place of real deep perspective. It comes from a place of honesty. It comes from a place of reading between the lines and trying to more so understand others or see deeply into others. And maybe this is even a month, Virgo, where many of you are making major psychological breakthroughs with respect to connection and closeness. And I think a lot of it has to do with not only your own mindset, but also how you communicate and how you let other people in. Now, Neptune is also going to station direct on, sorry, it's going to station direct on the 6th of December, and it's going to be in your 7th house. So, any delusions, dreamy like qualities, any wishful thinking that has come up within your relationships and partnerships over the past while, basically anything you've been revisiting here, it's time to let it go, Virgo. Um, it's time to move on in this way, or it's time to just carry those lessons with you forward, right? Carry them forward with you and allow them to um, sit with you a lot more, you know? Um, yeah, interesting to think about. Right, so let's also look at Venus. So Venus is going to enter Sagittarius at the very end of the month. As I say, Virgo, I just think there's a lot of family stuff coming up for you, a lot of like leaning on loved ones. This could even be a good time period of great celebration, great hope, and optimism, and celebrating um, the fun times, celebrating all the things that you aspire to be when it comes to home and family, believing, right? Believing in yourself, but believing in the next step forward. And then, of course, Jupiter will turn direct on the 30th, and this will be in your ninth house. So I think Jupiter moving direct in your ninth house it's actually going to be somewhat useful for you. I think that it's going to create more of a, well, you're going to feel more of a push to want to make things happen for you, materially, financially. But I think a lot of it has to do with belief. I think a lot of it has to do with the ways in which you share, how you share information, how you broadcast it, how you publish it to the world. And there's a new sense of inspiration, I think, for many Virgos coming up. This is toward the end of the month, just to clarify. Okay, so it's going to be at the very end of the month. And of course, throughout Sagittarius season, this is you basically shining a light on these home related matters, these family related matters. But then coming into Capricorn season, it's going to be about you shining a light more on your hobbies, your creative projects, Um, Looking at as well, maybe some free time. I know for me, I just want to reflect on this a little bit, but throughout Capricorn season, I will be taking a break. I say this every year where I say I'm going to take time off over Christmas and I end up working, but I would like to take a little bit of time off toward Christmas, over Christmas and into the new year this year. Time. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. And also, thank you so much for your tip. That's much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. And Alicia, yes, don't give up, Virgos. Don't give up. Anyway, yeah. So let's move on to Libra. Okay. So Libra, Mercury has been in your fourth house for the past couple of days. And I think from the 1st until the 13th of December, well, I think this is about more serious conversations about family and about where you live and about where you want to settle down or put roots down. This type of stuff could very well be coming up. And if you're a Libra who has already set down roots in this way, maybe this is about certain plans that you want to make within the home. Maybe there's some reconstruction going on for many Libras, right? Or maybe there's greater responsibilities at home right now, and it's about, okay, let's talk about it. Let's be sensible about this. Let's be adults about this. The Mercury retrograde will happen from the 13th until the 23rd. So this could be where, okay, you start to review where you are, any changes you want to make then when it comes to your home, when it comes to your space. But let's even look at this in an emotional way. So we think about how the fourth house looks at our emotional security, our comforts. So, this could also be where many of you Libras, you will be highly introspective with respect to your own emotional needs. Okay, your own emotional needs and how those things are shared, how they're communicated. Mercury and Capricorn may not be the most communicative about, one's emotions. So maybe it is just about taking some time for your own privacy, during Mercury retrograde here at the beginning. And then we also look here to Mercury entering Sagittarius from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January. So for you, Libra, coming toward the end of the year, maybe this is about really, okay, the bigger picture. Maybe there's something that you're not quite seeing. And perhaps a part of seeing the bigger picture requires you to not only, well, communicate with others in terms of other people's perspectives, but I think it's more so about understanding, right? Having a deeper understanding about yourself and about how your mind works or about how you make decisions. And perhaps this can even indicate that there's a lot of idealization that goes on, but perhaps such things can also be useful and helpful to you if you just explore these idealizations or these ideals rather. And maybe as well it's about greater hope, right? Greater hope and positivity in a lot of ways in terms of your mindset, in terms of your beliefs, right? And how, you perhaps know more than most Libra that your beliefs are so much about that our beliefs really do impact how it is that we think and we learn, etc., how we grow as well. And I'm saying that because Sagittarius is in the third house here in the chart. So, this could even be where you decide to take on a new sort of higher educational program, or you decide to actually do something with a qualification that you have, or it's that you open yourself up to something new in terms of, okay, what do you want to learn? Um, Maybe even a new skill, right? A new potential skill here could be explored. And this could even be where there's so much advice that you can receive from other people this month. So listen, right? Really listen to what other people are trying to share with you this month. I think it really is a month of great listening for you, Libra. And Venus then will enter Scorpio from the 4th of December, will be there until the 29th of December. And I think Venus and Scorpio here, it's going to indicate just how much, like, what is really valuable to you, like, how much that's going to come up. And it's just going to be confronting you so much, and maybe even there's something here about your fears, your inner demons that are also going to be presented with respect to your security. Maybe there's just a lot even coming up for many Libras where it's like, I could potentially lose what I have here. Or what if? Um, or perhaps it's having like a profound realization about your security or about your financial position as well. And it could even possibly be that some Libras are more inclined to want to invest this month, investing into your business, investing so that you can maybe enter into a partnership, like a business partnership, or looking here at just greater financial decisions in general, and how you can attract greater rewards in this way, or looking at how you can ensure greater security. But again, I think these matters come from a place of realization, like deep realization, profound discoveries, transformations, right? It could be that something very transformative happens and it's like, oh, okay, there's a big wake up call here. Okay, so let's look at Neptune direct. So this is going to be from the 6th. So I think for you, Libra, well, over the past few months, I think what's been coming up for you a lot is like, okay, well, is it that there's a lack of limits here when it comes to how much I do, how much I work, looking at your services, thinking about your health? Maybe you're blinded to something, or maybe you don't want to deal with something that really is calling you. It's asking you to put yourself first, perhaps, or to consider healthy boundaries here. But Neptune direct may be a good opportunity for you to just move forward with greater spiritual awareness. It could even be here where a lot of Libras, you discover some sort of spiritual practice that you wish to do on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you already have, right? You know, you want something that's quite new in this way, and it's revitalizing. It could be meditation, it could be reading, it could be going to the gym, um, going to a yoga class, whatever it may be. So let's explore Venus entering Sagittarius at the very end of the month. So this is going to be in your third house. So, like I said, there's going to be all these planets gathering in the third house. And I think here with Venus, it's more about, okay, well, what do I feel drawn to truly? What captivates me? What inspires me? What do I really enjoy? What I really like and love when it comes to communication and learning and teaching and sharing. And perhaps this really is a month for many Libras where it is about a new sense of um discovery. Like there's something that you discover that really captivates you and it's mesmerizing, or maybe it's about others sharing new knowledge or new information with you, and then you have this aha moment, right? And so Jupiter as well turning direct on the 30th, so this is going to be in your 8th house. Perhaps this direct energy of Jupiter could be where you feel more called to want to move forward with investments or business deals or intimate relationship matters. And even on an emotional level, there could be a lot that's come up for you in terms of vulnerability over the past few months with Jupiter retrograde, and how such things they've influenced your worldview, your meaning, your philosophies, and maybe Jupiter direct. It's almost like you'll want to take what has come up over the past few months and really start to do something with these like philosophies or these beliefs that you've revisited. You'll really want to make something to do something that's useful. And of course, just to say here that throughout Sagittarius season, it's more about shining a light on the ways in which you process information, the ways in which you deliver information as well, learning this type of stuff, and then shining a light on family stuff, home related matters coming into Capricorn season, shining a light on your emotional needs, your emotional security, how you can comfort yourself, how you can support yourself. Okay, just let me know if the internet connection or anything goes off. Not off, sorry, if it slows down. You won't be able to tell me if it goes off. Okay. I hope that there's no jumpy parts here. Okay, thank you, time. Right, so let's explore Scorpio. Scorpio. So Mercury in Capricorn entered your 3rd house there on the 1st of December and will be there until the 13th. So Mercury here, I think, suggests that many Scorpio, I think there's a lot coming up here to do with sorry, I'm just um I need to restart. I need to restart. Okay. Let's go. Right, so Scorpio. From the first from the 1st of December until the 13th of December, Mercury will be in your 3rd house here in Capricorn. So, for many Scorpio, I think this is about professionalism when it comes to communication. I think this is about being more deliberate and being more sensible about the ways in which you communicate and more to the point. And I think that this is about greater authority and greater will. and strength as well when it comes to communication and being taken seriously when it comes to what you say too. Now, Mercury will also retrograde in Capricorn from the 13th until the 23rd of December. So, this is about you revisiting conversations, revisiting old information, possibly just looking more toward um, a past scenario, a past discussion, um, or even thinking about um, the ways in which you write or the ways in which you learn. It's about taking your time to really go over the structures and the foundations, to go over any limitations, to go over responsibility as well, and what type of ways do you want to be known for then when it comes to these things, when it comes to your writing, when it comes to um how you communicate, etc. It's like, how do you wish to be known? And like I said, Capricorn here in your third house is so much about being this authority in a lot of ways. Many Scorpios, you overcome um communication limitations. And then when Mercury does enter Sagittarius from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January, I think that there is so much that will come up here when it comes to your materials, your resources, and thinking about the bigger picture, right? Essentially, this is about the bigger picture, how it is that you wish to gain more knowledge so that you can maybe earn more money, or so that you can sustain things a lot better. Looking even at your aspirations with respect to money, your earnings, your physical security, etc. Take time to think about things, right? Go inward, consider these areas. And Venus, of course, will enter your sign from the 4th of December until the 29th of December. So there's a greater deal of attractiveness here for Scorpio this month. Being admired, coming across as somewhat more charming, being well liked by other people, maybe people wanting to give to you, people recognizing you, noticing you, wanting to be around you, many more compliments from other people. And yeah, just more of this radiation, right? More of this glow about you, greater intensity as well for you, Scorpio. Maybe this is really a month where you you want to showcase and display just how much people in your life mean to you and how loyal you are to them. There's just this greater closeness this month. Yeah. And you know what? I I want to apologize just there, and why I took a pause, because my brother, he passed away, and he he was the greatest Scorpio ever. And him and my brother, I have two brothers, but both of them are Scorpios. So he's one of the greatest Scorpios I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And I love him, I love him, and I'm gonna miss him. So I just want to say to my Scorpio brother, there's gonna be a lot of people that show up for you this week, and there are a lot of people that miss you. Okay, let's do this. Let's move on. So yeah, Venus and Scorpio, Scorpio, the profoundness of you, Scorpio. I just I have so much respect for this sign. Um, you show Scorpio, you show people their greatest fears, and You help transform the lives of others in more ways than you can ever know. Um, so Venus in your sign is it's your time to radiate, to glow, Scorpio. It's your time to be admired by others. All right. So let's also explore Neptune direct. So Neptune direct is going to happen here from the 6th of December, and it's going to happen in your 5th house. So Scorpio, a lot of you are going to be moving forward with your creativity, with your hobbies. Okay, maybe this has actually been a good opportunity for you to revisit your creativity, right? Your vision, your imagination. It's just some time to go over it all, right? Okay, what's the vision here? And then, yeah, taking these lessons, carrying them forward, coming out of hiding, Scorpio. Right. And then also, let's look at Venus in Sagittarius. So, Venus is going to enter Sagittarius on the 29th, at the very end of the month. So, we consider here for you, Scorpio, how there is this stellium in a way. There's these planets building in the second house for you throughout the second month, or throughout December, and how this really does look at such growth and change, and even, I would say, greater adaptability when it comes to your resources and your finances. And then Venus here is going to be a good opportunity for you to really get focused and to think about, right, okay, what do I want to build? What do I want to grow? How do I want to sustain myself? And then Jupiter direct will look at you moving forward with business plans related to collaborations, partnerships, relationships, these types of areas. Okay, the types of people you want to work with, the types of people you want to get into business with. And just as mentioned here as well, Scorpio, a light is going to be there's more of a light focus. So this attention toward your values, your worth, your inner security throughout Sagittarius season. And then coming into Capricorn season, it's more about those communication and learning areas for you, and how it is that you wish to really build upon these areas. Okay. So let's look at Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, Mercury, of course, is in your second house from the 1st until the 13th. So this time period, I think, is looking at your long-term goals, right? So what is it that you wish to build? How is it that you wish to sustain yourself here for the long haul? Really considering your resources, your materials, being mature, being responsible. And then the retrograde here from the 13th until the 23rd is so much about you revisiting these things, okay? Revisiting these very areas and having that time to really reflect upon, okay, how do I wish to sort of be successful with this? Or what is the long-term goal that I have in mind? How can I be more resourceful here? Then Mercury is also going to enter your first house from the 23rd until the 1st. So there's so much change actually coming up for Sagittarians throughout December. Of course, there's all these planets in the first house. We're talking about like new life directions, like possibly a new start, a new motivation, a new will, like a new strength, newfound hope, um the change of direction, right? A change of course. um and as well, I would say having more of an understanding of your own universal spiritual truths as well. And then possibly again looking to the bigger picture, and what is it that you are feeling really driven by and motivated by and inspired by coming into 2024. So I think this Mercury retrograde in um your first house here, Sagittarius, can be quite an inspiring time, but just again, try not to get too carried away either. So Venus is also going to enter your 12th house throughout December. So this is a time period where it's about you going within and considering your own sort of values, your self-worth, and what sort of space is there for these things in your life? Um, is it that maybe you want to protect your energy a little bit more this month? Is it that you want to take some time to yourself to really go inward to consider what your desires are? To consider, what is it that you really wish to gain? And looking even at how close you feel to certain people in your life and looking at intimate connection. But all of this is happening more so behind the scenes, or perhaps happening more on an unconscious level there. And then Neptune direct here within your fourth house could be quite beneficial, where, perhaps there's just been, well, there hasn't actually been many moments of like peace, perhaps for many of you Sagittarians, where it's just felt like you've had to keep adjusting and keep being flexible, especially regarding home and family. And it's almost as if you haven't gotten a minute. So maybe Neptune direct is a good opportunity for you to sort of be more understanding, or to gain greater clarity about that space and time that you need. And also, let's look at Venus in Sagittarius. So we've already talked about this stellium in your first house, Sagittarius. There's just so much excitement, so much spontaneity, so much enthusiasm and passion going on for you this month. But of course, Venus entering your sign toward the end of the month, it could be that actually you're exiting December. A lot of you are exiting December feeling somewhat good. You're exiting December realizing, oh my gosh, I've changed so much, I've learned so much, this is what I've gained, this is the wisdom that I've gained, and especially the wisdom that I've gained over the past few months, even from September, when Jupiter, your chart ruler, has been retrograde in your sixth house. So with that in mind, and even on that note, Jupiter direct on the 30th, as well as this Venus and Sagittarius energy, I think Jupiter direct looks at you moving forward with the wisdom, with these lessons regarding um, your work, regarding the services you provide, regarding co-worker relationships, looking at greater stability here, focusing more on what it is that you desire, the things that you value, the people that you value within a working sense. But then also looking more so at your ability to really consider your schedules and your routines, and what is it that is more comfortable for you, or what is it that feels more secure for you. But again, I just think coming toward the end of the year, there's so much of this focus on your life path and your aspirations. um and I think it's just quite it's a big month then for Sagittarius energy, because not only is Venus going to be entering your sign, not only is Mercury going to be turning direct in your sign on the 1st of January, but also Jupiter, your chart ruler, is going to be turning direct. So yeah, many opportunities could very well be up ahead for you Sagittarius. Yes, exactly, Brianna. Where are you aiming your arrow to? And yes, Alexander, you said drink tea. I'm actually going to have some tea after this. Okay, let's get into this. Let's get into Capricorn. Right, so Capricorn, Mercury in your sign from the 1st until the 13th. A lot of Capricorns, this is about you considering, right, your life path. What's the next step? What's the next stage for you right now? Especially when it comes to, your aims, your goals, this type of stuff. So Mercury retrograde from the 13th until the 23rd of December is going to bring so many like discoveries and realizations and questions as well, questioning, who am I responsible to, who am I responsible for, um what about my long-term goals here, what are my aims here. And it's about, of course, making those things happen, or building toward those things one step at a time. And then considering, who do you need to talk to? What are the calls that you need to make in this way? And considering as well, your life's mission, your life's work, your purpose. Of course, your life's mission and your life's work isn't just about like career. The two can be very, very different. So in this way, I think a lot of these questions are going to come up for many Capricorns. Now, Mercury is also going to enter Sagittarius from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January. So I think Capricorn, just you probably know this more than most, but just take some time to go behind the scenes to consider, like, okay, what are my greatest dreams? What am I imagining right now? What am I really aspiring to be right now? And having like the what's the word, the boldness, the the courage to even explore these areas, and to lift yourself up and to try and see the positive. Capricorn energy, not the best of seeing the positives within situations. You perhaps are a lot more realistic, as you may say. Um but I think that it's a good opportunity for you to really go inward and to think about, right, okay, what's the lesson I can learn from this? And um, how can I carry this information forward in a way where I'm teaching other people, I'm broadcasting, I'm sharing my experiences with other people. But yeah, just, reflecting more on how you can be somewhat more positive, or looking at your own sort of beliefs and how they can influence the ways in which you show up in the world. And then we also see here Venus in Scorpio in the 11th house. So I think in this respect for you, Capricorn, I think, Venus in your 11th house, it's going to point toward the meaning of networking and who you really want to network with. And it's not about like superficialness. It's really about, okay, but I want to consider the depth here. I want to consider um who can be trusted, who is honest, who is real with me. I don't want the BS. I don't want you know the niceties, and you know the people who just say one thing and then they do another. I want commitment in this way. So I think there's a greater deal of like focusing on community and clubs and even events, right? Any events that you want to plan. And again, as I say, it's more about the depth there, and taking things rather seriously too, and possibly even stepping into a business relationship in this respect as well. And then we notice how Neptune direct is going to happen in your third house. So I would say here for many Capricorns over the past while, many of you have been really like foggy. It's like there's just, of course, with Neptune being in Pisces since 2011, I mean, we're all experiencing this energy, right? With Neptune and being in Pisces. But for Capricorn specifically, it just seems like there's been a cloud, like a fogginess or wishful thinking, or just not being able to see things super, super clearly or for what they are. Maybe Neptune direct is going to give you a little glimpse of like, no, but this is what it actually is. Or maybe you haven't really seen it that in that way before. Maybe you can see it in a different way. This type of stuff could come up for you. And these realizations could perhaps even be quite helpful for you as you move forward. And then we also see here that Venus is going to enter Sagittarius on the 29th of December. So this is going to be, of course, in your 12th house, further suggesting, this whole thing of, okay, you know what, many Capricorns this month, perhaps it is about give yourself space, give yourself some time to really just nurture yourself, be kind to yourself, relax, switch off when you can. And maybe it's a good opportunity as well for you to look more closely at your aspirations, which may actually be explored through the likes of music, art, creativity. And you know what? It could even be as well that Venus in this 12th house for you even looks at greater like compassion, or greater love or kindness toward others who are struggling in life, toward people who may feel like they're shut out from society, this type of stuff. And then just, yeah, having more of this understanding about these people and their needs and their own struggles too. And even just exploring greater knowledge about spirituality, or about bigger, wider concepts that may be quite difficult to grasp, etc. But you're that type of person where it's like, no, I want to learn more about this and I want to give back and I want to help. Capricorns can be some of the most like charitable people, I find. But anyway, yes, I just think that Venus in Sagittarius, it's going to suggest these types of things. Also, just the stellium, right? All of the planets in the 12th house is just suggesting that there's so much of a focus on try and not force, try and not push. There's so much about surrender actually for you, Capricorn, coming up this month and letting go. And I know that that may be really difficult, but maybe there's also something here about you need to process a few matters here as well. And I also want to say Jupiter direct, this will be in your 5th house. So direct here, meaning that you're going to be moving forward with your hobbies, your creativity, right? Any creative pursuits there, any projects that you're working on. And of course, with Taurus in your 5th house, you do kind of like to earn money from your creative projects in this respect, Capricorn. So yeah, perhaps it's that you're gonna wanna like see greater movement, and maybe you will see greater movement, right? Greater growth in this way. And you're also going to feel more inspired or like positive, right? There's a greater sense of positivity here, especially whenever Mercury does turn direct from 2024, the 1st of January. And then we also see here with Jupiter direct. So yeah, and there's more I could say about this, of course, because Pluto is going to be exiting your sign on the 1st and entering Aquarius on the 2nd. So that is going to be an interesting one coming into the new year, I think. More information about that will come. But let's now move on to Aquarius. So, Aquarius, of course, Mercury here being in Capricorn from the 1st until the 13th in your 12th house. Aquarius, I think a lot of this coming up for you is to do with how you look after your mind, okay? How you look after your mental health. I even think, we're talking about Pluto energy a moment ago. Pluto in your 12th house over the past 15 years or so has been so much about your mental health, your mental state, and how you have transformed in like these huge ways. But I think a big part of this is, well, matters to do with guilt have come up, matters to do with shame have come up. And I don't mean to go heavy into this or just straight into this for you, Aquarius, but I just think that Mercury coming along here, it's almost like um this is on your mind, right? These things are on your mind. And I think that you can sense in a lot of ways that change is upon you, like change is really coming up for you with Pluto then going to enter your sign coming into 2024. Yes, there'll be that little dip back into Capricorn, 29 degrees, but it's really not that long. It's really not that long. And yeah, so I just feel like a lot of Aquarians, you can sense that something really very profound is about to come up. And maybe the mind is sort of preparing in a lot of ways for this with Mercury being in Capricorn in your 12th house. And I think that this is also why it's really important for you, Aquarius, not to spiral and not also to get into a place of like delusionment, right? And assuming the worst as well. You can sometimes do that, Aquarius. You can sort of just assume the worst in situations, or you can look at the negative straight away, this type of stuff. But still, Mercury retrograde from the 13th until the 23rd, I think can be a good opportunity for you to go over this type of stuff, right? To be honest with this stuff, and especially when it comes to any fears that you have, or maybe this is about being able to release, or all right. So there's something about surrender here. There's something here about being able to have more open and honest conversations about any fears that you have too. Yeah, you're about to embark on a very significant new chapter, basically, Aquarius. So please be kind to yourself. Also, Mercury entering Sagittarius from the 23rd until the 1st of January. So this is going to be in your 11th house. Maybe what this is saying here, Aquarius, is that this is really a month where it's saying friendship, right? Friendship. Look to the people within your community. You are respected, you're cared for, you're loved. People appreciate you. They hear your message. They want to hear from you. I think this is something here about you wanting to like get this inspiration to reach out into new communities, looking at your aspirations basically when it comes to communities and teams and clubs and events, etc., looking at your hopes and wishes for the future here as well, and how your hopes and wishes for the future, Aquarius, often showcase teaching, mentoring, this type of stuff. So I think Mercury retrograde is a good opportunity for you to, like, have a bit of time, right? Have a bit of time to just go over all of this stuff and to consider, what would you like to communicate? What's the message that you would like to share in this respect? How would you like to give back to your community as well? What type of community do you want to be a part of? And I often think when it comes to Aquarians, it's so much about diversity, right? There's so much of this sort of like a live and let live type of energy. And I think as well, it's about at the same time trying to like find like minds too. There can be a like mindedness, and you want to be able to find people who you can relate with. Just finding your tribe, basically, Aquarius. And we're going to notice this as Pluto does enter your sign coming into 2024. Like I said, you know what? I really, really do want to make a video about Pluto entering Aquarius in the new year. I really do. Right. Let's also look to how Venus then will be in your 10th house throughout December. So from the 4th until the 29th. Right. So Venus in your 10th house basically says people see you, Aquarius, this month. People are noticing you. They're sending love toward you. They want to give to you. They want to work with you. But again, this is like meaningful stuff. This is not about superficial stuff. And if there is any like weirdness, like sneakiness, shadiness, this type of stuff, I really think that this is about you seeing through a lot of that. And this could even be where you bring a lot of hidden truths to light, or maybe it's that your vulnerability, Aquarius, this month really does shine through. It glows, and you're actually respected for that. You're respected for your vulnerability. You're respected for your ability to like wear your heart on your sleeve. And I know that that may be really daunting and scary. But my goodness, this is the whole thing. This is what I'm trying to say. Pluto in Aquarius for Aquarius over the next 20 years is going to reshape and completely restructure how Aquarius is. Okay, how Aquarians are. You're about to embark on one of the most like eye-opening experiences. And the thing about Pluto is that you're not going to get this opportunity again. That's the thing about Pluto. Pluto moves very, very slowly. It takes like 250 years, something like that, for Pluto to travel through all of those signs. So Aquarius, again, there's more I want to say. There's more. I don't want to go on too much longer. Right. So Neptune direct. Neptune direct is going to happen in your second house, Aquarius. So, really, over the past few months, many of you Aquarians, it's been very like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about money? Where is it coming from? I find it hard to reach it. The moment I get it, it's gone. I feel like everyone's taking from me. I feel like I'm giving too much to other people. I'm not getting enough back. And, I think, with this energy, you can be highly charitable in this way, Aquarius, but it's also like, well, what about you? What about a little piece of something? What about holding back something for you? And I think Neptune direct is going to bring up these realizations for you where it's like, hold on a minute, how much am I giving? Why am I giving so much? How about me? What do I need in order to support myself right now? Okay, so Venus as well is going to enter Sagittarius on the 29th. So this is going to be on in your 11th house. So yeah, I think coming toward the end of the month, there is this fuel, this fire in your stomach where it's like, right, I am ready to move forward. I'm ready to make things happen when it comes to communities, when it comes to togetherness, when it comes to networking, these types of areas. I'm feeling inspired. I want to do this so badly. I want to pour my all into this. And having this like inspirational quality to you where you feel that this calling, you feel this push, you feel this rush, this enthusiasm. And then Jupiter as well will move direct, station direct in your fourth house. So I think You have been exploring more of, well, not only home life, family life, what is meaningful to you, what's valuable to you when it comes to family life and home life, but this is also about your own sort of emotional security and your emotional life too. And I think a lot of Aquarians, Jupiter here in the fourth house has been looking at how you can look after your emotions, how you can create greater like emotional stability in your life, greater emotional regulation in this way. But Jupiter retrograde, I think, brought up a lot of these bigger questions, these bigger lessons, these bigger understandings to do with these areas. But Jupiter direct is more about, okay, well, these are the things that I've learned, and these are the changes then that I wish to make moving forward. And lastly, I just want to say here, of course, with Sagittarius season, it's more about you shining a light on friendships, communities, the people in your life in this way, like bigger networks, bigger groups and stuff like that. Even the organizations that you're a part of, these areas. So shining a light on these areas. And then coming into Capricorn season, I just feel as if coming into Capricorn season, many Aquarians, you'll want to go into hiding a bit more before your birthday season begins. The thing about your birthday season, Aquarius, important to keep in mind, as soon as the sun enters your sign on the 20th of January, Pluto is also going to enter your sign on the exact same day. More to come. But yeah, interesting. Kayla, you say that as an Aquarius rising, the amount of mental and spiritual growth you've made in the last 15 years is insane. Oh my gosh. Okay, awesome. You're 26 now and you feel like you've lived 12 different lives. Oh my gosh. I I feel this. I feel this. So so my son is an Aquarius and I relate to this so much. Yeah, a lot of growth and a lot of change. And you know what? Good on you. Good on you. And it's good to hear. Thank you for sharing your experiences in this way, Kayla. And it just sounds like you have learned so much. That's awesome. Not easy though. It can also be a roller coaster, can't it? Sacred echoes. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Whew, right. Okay. So, creator as well. You said you said you hope that your business will recover and grow. Yes, I hope that for you as well, creator. Okay, sending positive vibes your way in terms of your business. Yes, you can do this. Okay, let's look at Pisces, the final sign. Thank you so much for being here as well, everyone. Thank you for your time today. And yeah, horoscopes were a little bit late this month, but thank you for understanding. Right, Pisces, let's do this. Pisces, Mercury has been in your 11th house from the 1st of December and will be there until the 13th of December, okay? So for Pisces, I think that this is looking over the very foundations and the structures that exist when it comes to, okay, sure, friendships and teams you're a part of, groups you're a part of. But I think this is also about looking at how things are interconnected and looking even at your individual role within that interconnectedness. And even looking more so at how your business or your organization or your company, how these things are related to that greater whole. Okay. And even looking at how it is that you contribute to society, I think these bigger questions are coming up or they will come up for you over the next couple of weeks. And then with the retrograde from the 13th until the 23rd of December, this is about you revisiting these areas as well and possibly reconstructing the ways in which you think, right? Or the ways in which you, of course, communicate within these particular groups that you're a part of. And even, being recognized, right? Being recognized as a team player, being recognized for the uniqueness that you share, the uniqueness that you bring to the table, and possibly as well considering like how it is that you want to be known for and how it is that you want to be respected, right? There's so much about respect and integrity when it comes to Capricorn energy. So I think these things are going to be reflective through communication in this way for you. Okay. And then again, looking at how it is that you show up within networks and groups and teams, etc. Now, the Mercury retrograde will also happen in Sagittarius in the 10th house for you Pisces from the 23rd of December until the 1st of January. So there's really quite a lot coming up for you actually Pisces when it comes to your life's work, your purpose, when it comes to how you show up on a public setting, on a public scale. And I just think that with all this sort of Sagittarius energy, there's this sort of larger than life energy to you when it comes to your profession or your purpose. There can be this I can do it all view or feeling, or it's about wanting to sort of gain as much as possible, like gain as much wisdom as possible, gain as much knowledge as possible. Looking even at the bigger picture when it comes to career, when it comes to work, when it comes to status, when it comes to reputation. You often find when it comes to Pisces, it's that Pisces can see beyond that, like that illusion, that illusion of like, oh well, I make this much money and this is my position and da 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 da. This is where I live and all this, you know. eh, Pisces moves beyond titles and stuff like this. So I just feel like a lot of these bigger questions are gonna come up for you throughout December. And maybe there is a little bit of like, okay, well, hey, you know what? What's wrong with being, seen as such and such, or this is my position, this is the role that I play, and maybe there's a sense of like, yeah, that's okay, and I enjoy it, and this is what I want to do, and this is where I see myself for the next whatever amount of years. But yeah, I think Mercury retrograde could very well look at you revisiting these matters, right? And possibly even um, having more of an open discussion with certain bosses or managers about um, career stuff, or again, this could simply be about purpose and about even how it is that you wish to be known. What is it that you want to be known for, and what type of message do you want to share with the world? Perhaps there's even like a what's the word, what do you call it, like a rebranding of sorts, right? Polishing up something, or restructuring how something is built, and that something of course could be related to, again, it could be related to your professional life in this way. Um, so Venus in Scorpio will happen in your ninth house. So from the 4th until the 29th of December here, this Venus and Scorpio energy transiting your ninth house, think I think there's something here about wanting to look at the depths of how it is that you teach or how it is that you mentor, and the types of sort of possibly customers you want to have or attract, rather, the types of clients you want to attract or work with, um or even looking at just business. I mean, Scorpio energy can be an entrepreneurial energy, is that the right way to put that? But yeah, really, this sign can be about business and enterprise. So I can't help but think that many Pisces will be exploring these things, these areas more closely, especially with respect to legal stuff, looking at the legal documents, looking at, again, partnerships, looking also at any sort of agreements that are made in terms of training, etc. I think that can be quite useful, and especially whenever Venus does enter Sagittarius from the 29th there of December coming into the new year. I think this energy of Scorpio can be quite useful. So using that research that you gain or that you do and applying that research to these other aspirations of yours that we just talked about when it comes to your career and your professional life, right? Okay, so Neptune direct also will happen on the 6th of December. So this is going to happen in your first house. So it's interesting to me that with Pisces from 2011, Neptune has been home in your sign. And I just think that it's been making things even more elusive or even more dreamy or foggy. But also at the same time, the thing about Neptune is that whilst, yes, Neptune can look at this stuff, there's the gifts of Neptune and possible sort of gifts for you, Pisces, is that your creativity has been like incredible. The visions that you have, the dreams that you have, how your imagination can like be a big part of your aims and your goals and your life path and stuff like this. So Neptune has, I think, also come with its, its rewards, its blessings for you in this way. But still, Neptune retrograde could have been where it's like, where am I lying to myself? Where am I burying my head in the sand when it comes to the next step? Am I being, uh, honest about this situation? Is it true? Do I really believe that? Is this what I really want? Do I really desire this? It could be a lot of flip flopping, this type of stuff. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe this is all part of your creative process at the same time. But still, Neptune direct could very well suggest that, it's like, okay, well, I've gained a little bit more clarity here. I'm a step closer to that big idea or to that creative thing that I'm trying to reach, but I can't quite reach it. But again, I think this creativity and this, like, the artistic qualities to Pisces are so much linked to your aims and your goals and your life path. Right. So again, going back to Venus and Sagittarius, we sort of mentioned Venus and Sagittarius, but I think even Venus and Sagittarius here toward the end of the month, it could even be where you actually feel more like inspired or admired in this way, especially other people noticing your work or you even broadcasting yourself in a whole new way, publishing in a whole new way, sharing your knowledge, right? In a different way where people recognize it and people see your vision or they want to give to you. We were talking about Aquarius there with Venus and Scorpio on the 10th, but you're also going to get a little bit of this, Venus energy yourself in your 10th house coming up, Pisces. So things could very well be bright for you in this way, or you could feel a greater deal of optimism and positivity regarding these areas, these matters. Okay. Uh, and then Jupiter will also turn direct. Jupiter, of course, is one of your chart rulers. So Jupiter will turn direct on the 30th in your third house. So I think for many Pisces, Jupiter retrograde has been a good opportunity for you to really go over, right, okay, practical communication here. How useful is this learning that I'm doing? How can it be applied in simple ways where it's not overcomplicated? It's not an overcomplicated thing. But Jupiter then direct is more so about, okay, well, I've reflected on this knowledge and this is what I've learned. And then you can move forward where maybe you want to pass on certain information with other people. You want to share it, you want to broadcast it. And that can even be linked in with that 10th house energy, of course, because Sagittarius is up there. So bringing as well these understandings to this public forum or to your business or to an organization or to your career, etc., etc. Then, of course, lastly, with the sun being in your 10th house over Sagittarius season, during Sagittarius season, shining a light then on your long-term goals, okay? Shining a light on achievements and accomplishments and how these things are very much representative of your wisdom and your knowing and your experience, right? As well. Sagittarius energy is so much about experience. And looking at those greater opportunities that could very well come up for you throughout Sagittarius season. And then coming into Capricorn season, it's more so about shining a light on your your communities and um, shining a light on even the ways in which you show up in mature ways, like mature, responsible ways for friends, for example. That's just an example. Or um, let's even think about the 11th house through a lens of non-conforming ideas, right? That's another thing. Non-conforming ideas, where it's like, no, I don't subscribe to that. And I don't conform to that. This is what I think, right? This is my unique sort of perspective in this. And I don't have to follow the crowd in this way. So maybe it's shining a light on these very things for you, where there's more of an authority effect to it, where you're more you're more like, no, this is the way I see it, and that's it, and I stick to it. And there's a sense of I think there's integrity in that. It's reminding yourself of your own integrity. Okay. That's us. That is us. So I just want to remind you of Patreon. Again, thank you so much to my patrons for being over there. Thank you for all of your support. But if you are interested in joining the Patreon, you can go to the link down below. If you do have a question for me, didn't include questions in this one. My apologies. But if you did enjoy this session, thank you for listening. If you did enjoy this session, you can always buy me a coffee. But that's pretty much us. That's December. Thank you for your patience. David, you said positive vibes all around. Yes, 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 yes. And time, you said refurbished. I'm not quite sure what that was about because it was a little while ago. And Alicia, you said Neptune direct. Yes, Neptune is going to turn direct. Thank you so, so much for being here today, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have found your horoscopes to be useful. I hope you do find them to be useful throughout December. And yeah, I appreciate you tuning in and watching. And I do apologize if I was a little bit rusty today. Okay. Things have been up and down. They have been up and down. But I'm getting there. Yes. Thank you for listening. And even just want to say as well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate it, because you could very well be watching this throughout the month, etc., etc. Yeah, happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy winter solstice as well, everyone, because that is, of course, coming at the beginning of Capricorn season. Good. I'm so glad, David, you said it's always useful. I'm glad to hear that. Right, I'm going to get going then. Have a great rest to your Sunday. And I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all very, very soon.